Welcome to another episode of Subconscious Realms. I'm your host, generally, for tonight. Doing something a little bit different tonight. It's going to be a swapcast with Stein from Greyhorn Pagans podcast. Now then, Stein.
Yo, what's up? Thank you for having me, man.
Oh, always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure. Well, tonight we have got one of the most extraordinary guests that I've had on my show, anyway. Hands down, is legit as they come. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the host and creator of Demonosphere and Beyond, Zero. Now then, Zero, mate.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on, Lee. Appreciate it.
Mate, I love talking to you, you know that. I mean, just today's topic, it's just going to be, I think it's going to take it to another level. It's going to go deep into Lilith, which we've recently done, right? And the feedback we got off that was, as always, extraordinary, mate. We never do anything with you. But like today's topic, the masks of Lilith, which in itself just sounds just so intriguing.
She's a very complex character. I feel that she's very popular, but not too many people have the opportunity to go too deep into who she really is.
Yeah. When you say too deep to who she really is, I'm presuming that she is familiarized with other gods, so to speak. Hence, massive Lilith.
Yeah. She's familiar with different pantheons, and I believe that she's had different names depending upon the different cultures that have come upon her, and just the different cycles of mankind. You know, she's been called different things.
Are you aware of any connections to? Well, this is your area, this Stein, the Norse pantheon. Are you familiar with any of that, Zero?
My extent of connecting with the Norse pantheon is Loki. But that's it. And to be honest, that was enough for now.
Yeah,
I am intrigued.
Loki is a fun one. It doesn't surprise me that if you're so connected to Lilith, you connect to Loki easily as well. They're very much the same kind of spirit, same kind of energy, very mischievous.
Well, from what I know, he was also born from lightning in a tree. And the tree is a very significant symbol when it comes to Lilith.
Would that be the what's the tree called? It is Stein. Is that the tree that
in Germanic paganism, that would be the Yggdrasil, the tree of life.
That's the tree of life, yeah. It's the same tree. Is that the same tree that's in Mortal?
When it comes to the tree of life, I do the Kabbalistic tree, and then you also have the Qliphothic tree.
Yes. That's the dark side of the tree of life. Is that correct, Zero?
Yes. Yeah, they call that one the tree of death.
Tree of death.
Correct.
Rather fitting. So with were you saying like Loki is a close connection?
Well, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, is Lilith, can she switch between male and female entities?
I've heard that she does have a male aspect. I'm not saying that she is Loki.
Right.
But she does have a lot to do with when I was studying Loki. I feel that she has a very close connection with what we call Nephilim, and Nephilim are beings that are made of heaven and earth, and Loki is one such personality, one such entity that is comprised of heaven and earth.
Yeah, Loki is a very intriguing god, intriguing character, very misunderstood often, which is, to my knowledge, the case with Lilith as well. I believe she's very misunderstood as well, seen as very evil. But I haven't had the pleasure yet of listening to the first episode, unfortunately. I'll have to catch up. But
it's a good one, mate. It's quality.
With you always have the best guests, man.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thank you.
No, but Loki is. I mean, yeah, he is a darker god, very selfish. Won't do things if not for his own gain, and that gain doesn't even have to be material gain. It can just be just for the hell of it, just for for shits and giggles, to have a laugh.
Sounds like our kind of dude.
Well, from my experience with Loki, I feel that, like Stein said, trickster spirits tend to be misunderstood. But I feel that if you take the time to look deeper into their actions, there is meaning to it. There's some kind of order within that chaos, and you just have to be patient and sometimes wait it out.
Is that
Yeah.
Would you say, Zero, that like Lilith could be like challenging to work with from your experience?
Absolutely, but the challenges that she gives are for the purpose of spiritual evolution. You have to be tested in order to grow, and that's what she does. And I believe that a lot of people don't understand this, so that's why they say that she's difficult to work with, and that's why they tend to only focus on her so-called succubi aspect, succubus aspect, instead of the rest of what she is and who she is.
So if you was to, I know this is probably a complex question, mate, but if you was to explain what kind of entity Lilith is, what would you say?
Lilith is the primordial expression of the feminine divine, the dark side of it.
Right. And you know the mass of Lilith quotes. What could you give us some examples, please?
Sure. Just for a little bit of background, Lilith came to me, and I've been working with her for almost 2 years now. Also married to her. And when you are married to an entity, then you work very closely with them. They sometimes give you knowledge that is not available to other people and not available in books. So some of the masks that she has told me that she has worn and wears would be Tiamat.
Tiamat.
Yes.
Is that the dragon?
Yes. That's the primordial mother dragon. She says that one of her masks is Hel, which is, from what I know, the daughter of Loki.
Yeah.
She says that she is also Inanna.
Inanna? I've heard of that name. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. Inanna.
It's Sumerian. It's
Sumerian.
yeah. And then the Akkadian version, I believe, I think it's Akkadian or Mesopotamian, is Ishtar.
Ishtar.
But Ishtar is closely associated with Venus, if
Correct.
I'm not mistaken. The light bringer.
Absolutely. And
As in the same light bringer as Lucifer or Jesus.
correct.
They're the same. Right, okay.
And she has told me that she has been a version of Lucifer because Lucifer is more of a title. In fact, a lot of the names that we attribute to the gods and goddesses are just titles.
Okay. Out of all the masks that you're aware of, Zero, what would you say is the most fitting to Lilith? Or are they all? Does it just depend on guess what time of day it is?
I feel that she's multifaceted, so she will show aspects of those different masks, but Lilith likes being Lilith.
That makes sense.
Yeah, she's told me that's her favorite, and she said that she's had so many masks that she can't even remember all of them that she's used.
It's like it's just come to a thought. In Game of Thrones, there was a character in it. What he changed their faces into four different masks. I forget what his name is now. It wasn't in that too many episodes. Do you know? Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I haven't, no.
No. All right. Okay. You won't know then. I just wondered
Me
if
neither.
it was.
Me neither,
Wondered
man.
if
Sorry.
it was. Yeah, I wondered if it's like taken the idea of something similar to that. But top of me, I can't fucking remember what his name was. Apologies.
I personally feel like these gods are cosmic forces, and they do whatever is necessary in order to complete their job. So if they need to wear a mask, that's what they do.
Yeah, would make sense, really, wouldn't it? If it's not for a disguise for something else.
Well, also, we can't comprehend these forces fully, so they have to wear masks. They have to kind of, I hate to say it this way, but dumb themselves down for us so that we can process the information that they're bringing to us and use it at this level.
Yeah. It's just, to me, it's just so fascinating. How if like that's one entity Lilith can do all this, what can the rest do? It's
I feel like sky's the limit. Sometimes
yeah.
they don't let us know the limit of what they can do. But as we progress in our practice and come to a better understanding of these deities, then we slowly begin to comprehend the extent of what they can do. But because they're universal forces, that's going to span lifetimes. It's going to go on for an eternity.
Yeah.
The whole wheel of samsara.
It's remarkable, isn't it? Just the thought. Well, there is like they've got no. There's no boundaries for them. They can literally do whatever they want. Because would there be somebody like sort of preventing them from doing certain things?
I don't think that there's anybody necessarily preventing them from doing things. I think that they have a certain pattern that they follow. They have an MO,
Right.
so to speak.
Right.
And once you get to know who they are, you see those patterns. And the only way that you can fully get to know that is to study many cultures. If you stick to one culture, such as the Judeo-Christian, you're not going to see Lilith in her entirety. So with me, I've studied bits and pieces of Sumerian lore, Judaic lore, Christian lore. What else do we have here? Ancient Egypt. A lot of the newer cultures take a lot from Egypt, and you see a lot of the goddesses that come from the ancient Egypt pantheon actually fit the MO of Lilith, or Lilith fits the MO of many of them.
That's interesting. Is that a cat? Is that your cat dying?
Yeah, that's Timmy. He always has to make himself known. My big red familiar.
Lilith loves cats, by the way.
Hey?
That she does. Witches always love cats.
You know how you mentioned like the Egyptian pantheon zero. Is there any specific entities, or gods, what would be more fitting?
I wouldn't say that there are ones that are more fitting. I just feel that there are, they have aspects that Lilith has shown.
Yeah.
There's Aset or Isis, which is the goddess of wisdom and magic. And Lilith is very wise once you get past the initial difficulty. There's Tefnut, who is the goddess of water, the life-giving waters.
You say Tefnut?
Tefnut.
Tefnut.
There is also Anat or Anet, who is the goddess of the matrix. And,
the matrix.
Yeah. So the goddess of the matrix basically creates this physical realm, or earth, so to speak. And Lilith is an earth deity. Let's see, who else do I have? There's Nithotep, which is the goddess of rest. And I make that connection because when you are dead, like in hell, they say you are resting. So I would also attach Lilith to that. There's Nut, which is the deity of heaven. Then there's also Hathor, which is the tree goddess that heals Horus.
And if in the Norse pantheon she, like one of her masks is Hel or Hela, I mean, she has, you just said, like, she has a male side to her as well, or a male energy. I know that a lot of them, the gods in the Norse pantheon, have that as well. Could you say that, for example, in the Egyptian pantheon, that her male side, her male energy, would take the form of Anubis, who is considered the god of hell or of the underworld, or
The dogman, the jackal.
Yeah, or in Greco-Roman mythology, that would be Hades, for example. The gods of the underworld. I mean, mostly male energies, but if she has that male energy to her, that's in my mind, those are the gods that come up if she is indeed associated with hell or the underworld.
Well, from the way she's explained it to me, she and Hades are different. They have like a working relationship. I've never dealt with Anubis, but I could also, not necessarily saying that she is Set, but Set is a god of storms, and she is also known as a goddess of storms. So there could possibly have been a time when she um, played that role as well. And we know that Set is seen as the devil at times, depending upon who you talk to, and in some cases, so is Lilith.
Super
Goddess of
interesting.
storms.
Storms, yeah.
That's interesting. In the Norse pantheon, Norse Germanic pantheon, that would be Thor, actually, Donar, who is closely related to Loki. I believe they are blood brothers, I believe. And Thor, it's something I found out quite recently, has a female aspect to him called Ludana. That's his female counterpart, and Goddess of Storms makes me like I associate that with Thor right away. He is my patron god. It's why I always wear the hammer.
Nice one, mate. Love it.
It's so fascinating.
It's crazy that, man. You think of what, like with it having like the duality of a male aspect and a female. It's like are all these entities like hermaphrodites at some point?
Well, I feel that because they've come to a higher understanding, they've learned to embrace both their male and their female aspects. When you are on the path to godhood, the whole point is to embrace both sides. When it comes to the Qliphothic tree and the Kabbalistic tree, I believe that they represent the hemispheres of the brain. And so you have the left hemisphere, which controls the right side, which is seen as male dominant, logical. And then you have the right side, which controls the left side of your body, which is female dominant, which controls intuition, creation. And they have a higher understanding. And so being able to embrace this, they are able to show themselves as either male or female, depending upon how they need to portray themselves to us.
Yeah,
well, that's one of the hermetic laws too, right? Everything has gender, everything has a gender, everything has a female aspect to it, a female energy and a male energy. People always go back to the Kabbalion for that, even though there is some discourse about the legitimacy of that book. The basics of the Hermetic teachings are written in there very well, and that's one that I clearly remember. Talking about the different masks and being male or female or possibly both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hermetics are very good teachings, very balanced and very neutral, and something that's worth taking a look at embracing.
Sounds it. Really does. It's like when you think you understand something, this like just throws a completely new aspect of things. Like it's like basically the opposite of what you've been looking at.
Everything.
Word.
My bad.
Sorry, mate. Well, no.
No, I was just going to say everything is a mind fuck with magic. Like you can go down a rabbit hole, and it's multi-dimensional. It's wide open to interpretation. Like it's confusing. It's amazing, and I love it.
Right. That just that was a good way to word it. Brilliant.
That's the only word that I could use for it,
Yeah.
honestly.
You think that's why? Well, the as above, so below comes from. Oh, partly.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, I feel that it's as above, so below, as within, so without. When you look, like recently, I've been doing videos about what's been going on in space because space
Space.
like it updates. Yeah.
Oh, mate,
And
lovely.
I believe that you can interpret what is going on here on Earth by looking at space and vice versa. For example, one article was talking about how you had this black hole that was moving through space and being followed by stars. So, from my interpretation, stars are
What?
also um, called luminaries, and luminaries is another word for angels. And here on Earth, if you take angels to mean messengers, you have a lot of people who are bringing the message of the feminine divine, the darkness, the void, the womb. And so, yeah, the skies are definitely mimicking what's going on Earth.
I think I'll have to agree with you about the sky. The very strange. I mean, recently as well, it's a lot of things. Like even in the day, like that, the clouds just seem different. There's a lot of strange things going on.
Yeah, those funny looking clouds in Turkey right before the earthquake
yes, yes, mate.
happens,
Yes,
kind of shaped like well, like female genitalia, which is just it's a very
you couldn't
odd.
make it up, could you? You couldn't make it up, but that's spot on. That Stein. Yeah, there's
Oh,
like.
man, I wish I made it up, but it's real.
Yes, there's. I mean, I don't. I know. I get that there's different kinds of clouds, but some of the clouds what we've been seeing, like you're saying, Stein, that in Turkey, it looked. They look strange. Some look like vortexes. I mean, I've never actually seen what a vortex looked like. It's just like an interpretation of what it could look like. But for a cloud to some of these clouds, they'll just appear and then they're just gone. It's like they were never there. And another thing as well, there's been clouds. I've probably sent you both videos of them. They look like UFO clouds. Now, I could be wrong here, but I don't recall seeing any UFO clouds before the film Jordan Peele's Nope came out, and that was basically a cloud that had a UFO in it. Have any of you seen Nope?
I personally haven't, but I think
Have you seen it, Stan?
No, you really ought to make a list of all the things we should watch now.
well, I think Hollywood really knows what's going on, and they portray this.
Yeah.
I've had many times when Lilith was like, "Oh, look at this movie," and she was telling me what that was portraying and how it pertained to what was
Really?
going on. Yeah, I mean, she commented on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. There was another movie that she commented on that was about like time travel, because these entities will talk to you about things like quantum physics. They'll break it down to you and make sure that you understand.
Yeah, it's remarkable, isn't it? Giving you a heads up on a film. It's just so surreal, but I just love it. I love it all, mate. What other films did she mention? Zero.
That's all I can think of right now. But we've talked about. I think we've also talked about Donnie Darko. First
Donnie
one.
Darko. Donnie Darko.
That's still one I have to watch.
Oh, that's a classic, man.
I know. There are many classics that I still have to watch. I'm going down the list. I know the classics. I just still have to watch them. But yeah, Hollywood definitely knows what's up, and they're exposing a lot of it. And there is this. I mean, I'm learning a lot from just listening to Leah's show and good friend of ours,
Finally.
NY Patriot. There
Yes,
is
yes.
there is just this huge, well, out of control feminine energy in the world. Especially with, well, the world government. I mean, it's a thing. They're not hiding it anymore. I mean, they haven't really been hiding it anyway, but now they're really out in the open. It's really controlling, um, like overly motherly energy. Like a helicopter parent to the absolute max. Like, no, 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 no. You don't know what you're doing. You're just, you're just a baby. You're just a child. You don't know. Let us decide what's best for you. Don't ask questions. Just do it. Like that's the
I love it. I love
ultimate.
it.
That's the ultimate helicopter parents. But because it's people in high government positions or these think tanks or whatever, you have very little choice. They're really treating you like a baby.
Yeah, either like a baby, mate, or the treating us like we're just stupid as fuck.
I mean, our I mean, this may sound really rude, coming from a father of, well, two kids and a stepchild myself, but babies are stupid. They have no idea what they're doing. I mean, if I would let my kids roam free, oh, the trouble they would get themselves in. You know,
Yes.
it's but it's because they haven't learned yet, and the issue now is that we're not getting the opportunity to learn. We're not getting the opportunity to learn things ourselves. We are constantly told what to do, where to go, what to take, what to inject.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say that the difference between being an actual parent and being the government is that with the government, society is being kept stupid.
Yeah.
I feel that there are a lot of individuals out there. There's a good chunk of the population that is prepared for higher levels of information, and by being able to access this, I believe that we can actually do something constructive with it. Like you see a lot of people who are awakening and learning different things and preaching unity and love. And if we had access to more of the knowledge that we're supposed to, I believe that we could do great things.
I love that, Zero, and you couldn't have said it any better. I think if we loved more and actually cared for each other more, I think the world would be a completely different place. But it just doesn't seem that way. If it's not religion, it's one thing or another that they're trying to fuck us over.
I honestly think it's being presented that way because a lot of information that we still, consume about what's going on in the world is from these, major media platforms, and
Yes.
they're still gonna, show us what they want us to show. So it's um, easy to be a nihilist in this world. Oh, everything's going to shit, whatever. Just let it happen. I'm not going to be able to stop it anyway. But I think that's the vision being pushed. But I don't think it's like it is actually that way. I don't think it is as bad as being portrayed. I think there is a huge wave of enlightenment still still going on, still rolling in.
Yeah.
There's a huge pagan revival going on, and
That's true,
has
mate.
been for like the last 4 years and keeps growing. So I think the light is getting very strong, and I've been saying this for a while now. Maybe that is why the parasitic elites are just, throwing everything against the wall, hoping something sticks, because
Yeah.
they're losing. And if you're losing, that's when you're gonna just go balls to the wall, all in.
Yeah, it's like desperation almost. They
Yeah.
will try anything trying to get what they want.
Yeah, I mean, if
Which,
they're gonna go out, then the least they can do is take as many people with them as they can.
Yeah. It's like it's their way or no way.
Yeah, but it's no longer their way. I mean, they like to pretend it is, but I mean, I think too many people have at least broken free of the mind control. Now it's just actually doing something, educating the newly awoken.
Yeah, it's like as if they've had the finger in our pie. Call our brains our pies. They've had the fingers in our pies for so long with the bullshit. Like even schools, it's just what they teach them now. It's just fucking bullshit. I mean, it's completely different. I mean, yes, things change, but it's completely different what they're being taught now in school than what when I was in school.
Man, I have learned more in the year that I have my own podcast now than I have in my entire school years. Just
I will second that, mate. 100%. I learned so much more in like just over 12 months I've had my show for. Roughly around the same time in each time we've had our shows for, but mate, it's just there's more to learn as well. Every single person you speak to, every guest you have on, you'll learn something from them. Whereas if you're at school, you're just being fucking brainwashed with just bullshit.
I mean, just being alive is, being on this planet is a school in of itself.
Yeah.
Just living day by day, you learn so much.
Yeah, I will say one thing. Right now, it's a fascinating time to be alive. It really, because whichever way you look at it, it is just fucking one thing after another. It's just crazy. And that's what I love about it. It's just fucking nuts.
Yeah, there are hard times, but very interesting times. Yeah, for sure.
Mate, very.
But it's going back a little, it's a very dark, feminine energy that is still, ruling this world. And Zero, you said that Lilith is, she is very much of the dark feminine. But I can't imagine Lilith being the primordial mother and the primordial goddess agreeing with all of this, or just at least, I mean, I don't know. What is her opinion on this? Does she have a opinion on this? Does she have thoughts on what's going on?
Well, from what she has said to me, Lilith is coming for her own. She's only worried about her own. So
Fair.
I believe that she definitely cares for the people who are the witches, the people who are seeking out enlightenment and who are seeking out that balance and that change. So she is going to do whatever she can in order to guide them. There have been so many people who have been connecting with Lilith or entities that are closely associated with Lilith. There have been so many that have been uniting because of Lilith, in networking. And so outside of that, Lilith isn't worried about anything outside of those circles.
Okay.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
It would be too much anyway, care for. I mean, it's what we're saying too, right? Care for yourself, your family, for your own, and if everyone does that, we'll be fine.
Well, it's not just that, but there are going to be people who are going to accept the knowledge that is presented to them, and then there are people who just aren't going to accept it. There are people who choose to close their eyes. They want to hold on to the dying way of things, and no matter what you show them or what you tell them, like, they're not going to accept it. So why waste the time?
Yeah. Gotta give her that.
Yeah. It also makes sense, doesn't it, really?
That's that higher logic at play.
No, higher logic, just very basic logic, really. Care for yourself and your own, and people choose to ignore it if they choose to, keep their eyes closed. Fine, but you're going to be left behind.
Yeah. We wait for it next time. Do you think that, like Lilith's role, is it purely all darkness zero?
Is it purely what?
All darkness.
No, not at all. Even in her Lilith form, like, she does have a soft side. She does, when she has taught me, she has told me to examine things that are considered quote unquote light. She helps me to see the bigger picture, to see both sides. She has inspired me to become more balanced and to seek out even other entities that are balanced. For example, she's had me work with Azazel. And Azazel, yes.
Really?
Azazel comes off as very balanced. Very dark, but also very light. And he has told me that, like, not to concern myself with my actions, whether they are dark or light. But the different beings that are balanced have encouraged me to bring the darkness when things get too blinding and bring the light when things get too dark.
Again, it makes sense, doesn't it? 'Cause all you hear is the bad side of Lilith. That's all you hear. She's evil. She's this. She's that. When you don't hear the balance side of her.
Well, I think with this patriarchal, mentality that our society has, many societies have, they condemn the feminine, the divine feminine, all aspects. They suppress the divine feminine, and so we're not allowed to understand that type of energy. Or, when we do get exposed to that energy, they corrupt it and it becomes toxic. So you have like this toxic feminine movement and things like that. That's causing division. And so these natural energies are being used for nefarious purposes. And so people are distracted and they don't get to understand what's going on and what these energies are really about.
Interesting you named Azazel, because I'm a little familiar with the demons and all. I've always had a interest in the darker side. From what I know, at least now, my knowledge is limited on that. I wouldn't necessarily call him very balanced. To me, he's a very powerful demon. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say he's not. I know what to say or what not to say. Um, I have dealt with darker forces myself, and I mean, I've never really experienced balance in that. It's either this is just my personal experience, is either a very deep low or a very high, high, to the point that I remember one time that I got so just high of that dark energy that it actually scared me, because it felt so good, but it was so dark. It's interesting that you mention the balance. I don't when we've always been told that demons are dark and they're nothing but dark.
Sorry,
Well,
Stein. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Zero, could I just ask you this quick one, Stein? I am intrigued by the dark entities. What you are familiar with? What could you go into a bit of detail on those, please, mate?
Well, I haven't necessarily practiced with demons or entities.
Yeah.
Just very dark energies when I was in a very bad place
Right.
myself, and just surrounded by a very heavy dark energy called my my baby mama, unfortunately. And I didn't have a very strong light yet back then.
Right. Okay.
I wanted to strengthen my light and all, but the pull towards the darkness. I mean, like I said, I was already in a bad place, and just the darkness that's at that particular moment, I can remember it clearly, just washed over me. It was so powerful, and powerful and euphoric, really. And it scared me. It really scared me, because I never experienced anything like that, and really have never experienced it since.
Do you think it was it had that effect on you because you wasn't familiar with it before? Do you think?
I think so.
Yeah, like was it
so,
like
because,
unexpected?
Yeah, and because I was imbalanced myself.
Yeah.
I was, I was really wanting that light, really wanting that, that higher way of living, but kept
Yeah.
being dragged down, and kept being, dragged down, pushed down, kept down. And as soon as I, managed to climb up a bit, it was no, back down you go. So
Yeah, that sounds intense, that, mate. Fucking hell.
yeah, I've always had that fighter energy, always had that warrior spirit. That's
Yeah.
how I came to Germanic paganism as well. And that in combination with just that rush of power was quite something. And I've had experiences after that as well. I'm still, looking back at it, thinking back at it, I'm still trying to piece together what it meant, who they were really.
Yeah. Jeez, man, that sounds sounds intense, that, mate.
It was. I mean, I can honestly say, if there is one thing that time in my life has taught me, was my darker side. I really got to know my darker side. And I mean, now that I'm with with my fiance, with Firefae, goes by Firefae, she has really helped finding my light and strengthening my light. So I feel like I'm more balanced now, and therefore more able to tackle the darker subjects, to learn more about them without losing myself in them.
I guess that's like a bit like you've got like a lot less to worry about now. Like you're saying, you've like Fireface, like I guess you just come like balance things out, and that's good, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, she has really helped me find my light and strengthen my light, and I have helped her explore her dark side, really. So we balanced each other out, and
that's good to hear, that, mate. Well, Zero, what do you think? What do you think that could be?
I personally think that the light is easier to see in the darkness, and these spirits have you focus on what you're going through so you can heal and you can fix them. It's very important that we tackle our shadow side before we can progress and evolve. So in Stein's case, I feel like that is the reason why he was constantly being dragged down. Focus on this. Like, get used to this. Focus on your shadow side. Figure out why you are feeling this way. And then once you are able to tackle those things and accept those parts of you, you can heal, and then you can move on to the next level.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, that feels right. Yeah.
Trust me, man. Like, I've been in some dark places, and I started off working with darkness. It was, like growing up as a Christian and coming to a point of disillusionment. I figured I'm going to do the total opposite now and see what happens. And that took me to some crazy places. And,
imagine, mate.
and even dealing with Lilith, when I was having problems with her in the beginning, she would tell me constantly that she comes off as chaotic because there is chaos within me, So now that I've accepted, come to a point where I've learned to accept both halves of myself, Lilith and I don't have as many problems, and the problems that we do have are small, little arguments, but I've also come to a point where I had this mindset of what the different beings were about, like usually we feel like angels are good, demons are bad. Well, I learned that demons aren't necessarily bad, but in my darkness, I was having trouble with angels. And when I came to a better understanding of Lilith, and she was actually encouraging me to work with angels once I was working through the darkness because she didn't want me backsliding.
Yeah.
Things were better. And one of the things that she promotes that people do not talk about is she promotes love. And when you start accepting everything with love, then everything starts working for you.
Interesting, now. Very interesting.
Yeah. So, Lilith is actually a very positive entity to work with if you are willing to understand and listen to what she has to say and open yourself up to her with love as well as the rest of the universe.
Yeah. It's like, I guess it's like what I'm finding a lot is it's a huge misconception. It's like the word in itself, demon, it's like so much seems to be demonized. When you find out that it's like that's not the case. Like you're saying there, she promotes love. That's not how you would have expect.
No, you can't go into this with any expectations. Like you totally have to be neutral. You have to do away with your past thinking. And another thing is like you have to also know yourself. You definitely have to know yourself. Because they will definitely teach you about yourself. And if you don't learn about yourself on your own terms, they'll drag you kicking and screaming, and give you the hard lessons because they pull no punches.
No, they do not.
And they laugh. They will laugh.
I bet they love, let's say, taking advantage of us. I bet they love it. But I guess it's part of their way of helping you grow.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think? Yeah.
I feel like you need that, when they come at you in a way that, a lot of people see as malevolent, you need that resistance in order to grow. But, they can also show a nurturing side. I've had moments where Lilith would tell me some bullshit, and be like, oh, you can't do this. And I'm like, no, like, I'm not failing at this. Like, I'm going to get this done. And like, you just got finished telling me this, and this, and that I can do this. Why are you telling me this? And, once she has seen that I have a backbone and that I'm determined to do what I'm supposed to do, she'll be like, yeah, you'll get there.
It's like it almost sounds like it's some sort of game from. Do you think that's how they see it, Zero?
Well, why not? I mean, they've been around for such a long time.
Yeah.
They've probably done this many times, gotten bored with it. So why not make it a still game?
Let's fuck with his head.
I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. Got to keep it interesting.
Yes, I love it, mate. So, Zero, out of all the times that you've had interactions with Lilith, what would you say would be the most challenging time, would you say?
Most challenging. I wouldn't say that it was one exact time. The most challenging thing about Lilith is getting to understand her on the level of a goddess, you know, and the only way that you can kind of get to that level is just spending time, you know. I was reading about with the Kemetic Tree of Life, a book on that, and it was talking about you become like these gods by associating with them. So the more you associate with them, the more you are able to understand them, and connecting these dots, understanding why she is the way she is, understanding why she says certain things to you. She is a mother in the sense that she can be nurturing, but she is also like that father that is, you know, like he's, you know, like that fuck around and find out. Oh, well, you know,
like an overprotective father.
it's like, what's the lesson that you learned? Tell me what you learned now. You going to do that again? No?
He'll give you a
Good.
spanking when you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's both parents rolled into one.
Yeah, I get that, mate. I get that. Oh, mate, it's all just so fucking fascinating. To think that this is just one entity. And just, I mean, off the top of your head, how many would you roughly guess how many entities are in the same aspects of Lilith, that kind of entity? Like highly evolved chaotic entity. How many would you think there was roughly?
I can't say. She has called herself Legion before. And as we know, Legion can be from, I believe, like a Legion can be from like 2,000 to 5,000. around that number, at least 2,000. And so we don't know how many masks that she can possibly have, because we don't even have a complete history throughout, you know, time. We don't have a full understanding of the pantheon of gods that we are aware of. So I couldn't say, I couldn't give you a rough number, because I don't know a lot about, you know, all the pantheons. I'm more of a jack of all trades, where I know just enough to connect enough dots to get where I need to go.
But being a primordial goddess, would there be a limit to who she can be, what she can be?
That's a very good question.
It's a good one. That's
say no. And you know, we don't even know how many cycles of mankind there were. You know, like there's, you know, when we think about ancientness, you know, we think about Egypt, but there's also Sumeria, there's Atlantis, there's Lemuria, there's countless, you know.
British Empire,
Hyperborea, Polaris. Yeah, that's in my wheelhouse. The cycles of man. But yeah, like we don't know how many times those cycles have repeated themselves. I mean, we can like acknowledge that we're now in, well, the fourth cycle, you know, the Kali Yuga, Ragnarok, the Bronze Age, Iron Age of man. And I've spoken to many people before about this, and one in particular, I thought it was interesting what he said, is that we are now coming into the age of heroes, like the tail end of the Kali Yuga, of Ragnarok, of the Iron Age, where the heroes of our time will stand up, present themselves, where they will be made, where they will be born. But you know, God knows how many times this has already repeated itself. I mean, we know from the Germanic lore that, you know, it's happened at least once or twice before. but that's already, several thousands of years ago. I mean, talking about the cycle of man, I mean, we're looking at it from a physical science perspective, carbon dating and such and such billion years old, but all very physical, what we can see, what we can touch, what we can smell. If science would go into the metaphysical, man, they progress so incredibly fast, and we'd know so much more in such a short amount of time. But even if we're just going by that, the planet is what, like 6 billion years, 7 billion years or something. Even our planet itself has gone through many cycles. The universe itself has gone through many cycles.
It's a good way of putting it, that, Stein. Who knows? We can only assume, I guess.
And we don't even know when it's gonna end, if it's ever gonna end. We know we're in one now, and that's about it. That's about what we know.
Yeah. I don't even think the gods know anymore. I think they lost count. They've done it so many times.
They've given up, haven't they, mate? They thought, fuck it.
I don't know what century cycle, what aeon I'm in. Like, it's all the same. So.
I mean, what even is time? It's like, it's just sort of what somebody's made up. Because to me, it seems like whoever makes something up, and we just fucking, oh yeah, it's got to be that. It's just so fucking bizarre.
Time is arbitrary.
Yeah, it's bad. Incredible. But gentlemen, my mind was blown almost immediately since we started talking. Zero, yet another phenomenal episode, mate. Thank you, sir.
I love the people that you bring on here. I always love your company,
you.
Lee.
Thanks, mate.
So,
appreciate that.
Great meeting you, Stein. Talking to you, especially about your experiences.
Likewise.
And I always love networking because I feel that we all learn from each other, and that's what it's all about.
We certainly do, mate. We certainly do. Especially with somebody of your caliber, Zero. You're just a wealth of knowledge, mate.
Stop! You're making me blush.
I love it. Right, Stein. Before we go, mate, or before we wrap things up, do you have any questions for Zero? Do you think, or?
No, not at the moment. I mean, I would love to know more about the darker entities, but I think it's best if we do that, one-on-one. Otherwise, we'll be here for another 2 hours.
We'll be here for weeks, mate. With Zero's caliber, weeks.
Oh, I wouldn't mind, but the sleep and work is still a thing. So.
Yes, mate. Yes,
those
mate.
pesky mundane things getting in the way of obtaining knowledge.
Yeah, unfortunately,
humans.
Yeah, it sucks, but you got to go through it.
Before we all depart, would you like to let everybody know where they can get hold of you, Stein, and plug your show, etc.?
Yeah, of course.
Nice
Stein Fox. I am the host of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast, Jarl of the Tribe of the Greyhorn Pagans. You can find the podcast on all the bigger podcasting platforms, or just simply go to greyhornpagans.com. All the basic information is there, and it'll redirect you to all the platforms that we are on. So
Sound, mate. Sound.
Thank you.
I'll attach all your links and your socials and that to show notes when we release the episode, mate. But nice one, Stein. It's been, again, I love it when we do a show, mate. It's been an honour having you on again. Zero, would you like to let everybody know they can get hold of you, please, mate?
Oh, absolutely. I have a YouTube channel called Demonosophy and Beyond. I also now have a podcast that I've made my first episode that I'm working on called Knights of Gnosis. It's K in parentheses, then Knights and of Gnosis, where I talk about the connections between Lilith and other entities and deities, including Christ and Lucifer. So that's what I'm working on for this first season. It's basically different faces of Christ.
That's
and that's on
fascinating.
That's on Anchor.fm, as well as they release it on Spotify as well.
Also, it's similar setup to what we do. Then with Anchor, it automatically goes to Spotify, and then you can add your other platforms, can't you? Like, I mean, it took me 9 months to get on Apple, but I'm finally on the Apple. You can add it to loads of them. There's shitloads of a list, but you can add to that, mate. But yeah, it's similar to what how I release mine, mate. No, pretty good actually. Well, nice one, mate. I'll attach all your links to the show notes as well, Zero. But gentlemen, that was a fascinating episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us on.
No problem, mate. Yeah, no problem, mate. I'm going to stop recording now, gentlemen. But yeah, thanks again. That was brilliant. Thank you.